afternoon, everyone. It's so good to see you all. We've been virtual for a couple of years, right? But now here we are back in person, and it's really exciting that we were able to do so. So thank you all for coming. We have some really awesome young people involved with our program today that I think you're really going to enjoy. We are going to start with a different prelude, and it's "We Shall Not Be Moved." And "We Shall Not Be Moved," it actually started as "I Shall Not Be Moved," as an African-American spiritual. And it really was about the faith of people who sung that song. And as you know, as part of it is talking about being planted by the trees, by the river of water. And that really speaks to really sustaining and having a strong foundation of your faith and what you believe in. And that song then later on became "We Shall Not Be Moved." And it became very popular within the civil rights movement. And it was an expression of unity, protest, conviction for racial justice. So we are going to sing "We Shall Not Be Moved" as our prelude together. And I'm going to put the words up for anybody who may not know it. Okay. And we're only going to sing it twice, but because we just want to. But while we sing it, think about what that means for you in terms of your conviction and your commitment to justice. Okay? We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like the tree that's planted by the waters. We shall not be moved. Okay, now you know it. Let's sing it now. We shall not be moved. We shall not be moved, just like the tree that's planted by the water. We shall not be moved. All right. Now we have a Windsor Community Choir for our MLK programs now, right? We will continue with a prayer from Reverend David Massey from the Hopewell Baptist Church here in Windsor. Amen.
I am humbled to be with you, and thank you for the opportunity to be a part of this community and be a part of this grand service. May we pray together. Dear Lord, we humbly bow to say thank you. Thank you for the life and legacy of one who blazed the trail to make life better for those who struggle within a system designed to keep them in despair. We thank you for a dreamer who allowed his mind to dream in the daylight moments of desperation and into the nighttime nightmares of national neediness. We thank you, God. We thank you for sending to us a prophet who in his time spoke truth to power and reminded the powerless that truth would be the power from on high to make us free. Oh God, thank you. We thank you for a voice that speaks into our heart and reminds us as old folks and young folks, reaches in our heart and reminds us as individuals and as a community of diverse individuals, telling us that all lives matter.
Yes.
Thank you for this day
Thank you.
and this celebration and the life that we remember and celebrate. In your holy and righteous name, we say thanks.
Thank you.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much. Now we know we're going to have a good time, right?
Yes.
We now will have a statement of the occasion by Janine Thomas from Archer Memorial and Design Church. Thank you, Pat. You said it right at the right height. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Once again, we have come together as a community to commemorate the dream, life, and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., and to honor his message of freedom, justice, equality, and brotherhood. Dr. King's legacy of being a dynamic civil rights leader who spoke out against social injustice also influenced the life work of the late Congressman John Lewis, also recognized as a civil rights leader who championed change for social justice in the halls of Congress through civil rights legislation. Today, we reflect on and celebrate both great civil rights leaders who had the faith to believe that truth, love, and justice could change a nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, you ready, choir? Of course, at this particular type of occasion and program, we always want to honor and recognize the importance of this song to the African American community. And so we would like to sing this together. If we can all stand and sing, lift every voice and sing. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died, yet with a steady beat, have on our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over the way that the tears have been watered. We have come treading our path through the mud of the slaughter. That sounded beautiful, Larry. Every year at this particular program, we always like to make sure that we are recognizing our leaders of our community. So as Archer Memorial AME Zion Church is kind of the leader in this particular program, that's something that we make sure we do have as part of this program, is that we recognize all of the wonderful works of our leadership. So at this point, we would like to invite our, where's Don? Is Don here? Okay. We still would like to invite any members here of the town council to come up and just greet you, to say hello, give your name, and just let everybody know who you are, and I would love to have you come now at this point. Okay, from the town council. Well, moving on to Windsor Board of Education. We'd like to ask our President, David Fury, and his team, the membership, to come on up and just to greet you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and I want to thank Pat so much for the invite that we had for Board of Ed members to be here, especially since our keynote speaker today is our Vice President of the Board of Education. But it's also important that we're here together, because that's, as a Board of Education, the schools are run by the superintendent on down. Board of Education primary responsibilities are to hire a superintendent, to evaluate a superintendent, pass a budget that gets sent to the town council, and make policy. But we don't do it as individuals. It has to be collective, and it's got to be in public for most of our work, unless there's a certain matter that requires an executive session. So I think it's important that we're all here. And Pat had strict instructions that we, as a group, had 2 minutes. Leonard, we're going to defer to you when you have your moment there to honor the whole group as the keynote speaker. Again, I'm David Fury. I've been president of the board just a little over a year, but I've been on the board since 2017. I couldn't run for political office because I was a federal employee for a year, so when I retired in 2017, I ran for the board, and I'm starting my 3rd term. A couple of important things that we're going through at the Board of Ed now is looking to, with COVID problems that we've had with students in school, it's making sure not only are they achieving well, but they're well themselves. Our staff is well, our students are well, our families are well. And so we've added a lot of social emotional learning programs. But we're also concerned about the learning loss, but you have to be healthy to learn. But we're also, a major focus has been on achievement. Next person we'll introduce, I guess, is our secretary.
But he said it, Secretary Ayanna Taylor. I've been on the board since 2018, and I don't think I could follow that any better than my president did. But we are very focused on all of you in the community, and so we hope you can join us. There's going to be a lot of budget talks. This is our finance chair here, and tune in. We're still virtual, but you can also come down to our beautiful new boardroom down at the L.P. Wilson Center.
Hi, I'm Paul Panos, a minority leader on the Board of Education. Been on the board for 2 years since 1997, except for 2 years. I remember we had President Garibay, who I've served under a whole bunch of presidents. So it's it's really a special occasion here to honor such a great man who's not just a brilliant orator, but someone who just knew how to bring everyone together with his advice on how we should judge one another. So this is really a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. There are also some other town officials who are here, and I'll get the state in a moment, but there are some town officials here that I would like to also have stand and recognize them, and if there are others that I'm not seeing, please do stand. But we have our wonderful town manager here with us, Peter Souza. We also have our chief of police, Chief Melanson here with us. I also saw some other police officers that were in the room. Where are you? You stand, please. Is there anyone else here that I'm not seeing from town service? Okay. Oh, hi. Yes, our Human Relations Commission folks back there. Hello there. Judge Washington. Thank you so much. And then we also have some state representatives that are here today. I am going to ask you, if you are a state representative, if you can please stand. If you're an official here in Windsor, but also within the state, if you can just stand and we can recognize you. And then I would like to have Representative Jane Garibay to come and just say a few words. But if anyone here, I see anyone else who's a state representative.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
It's an honor to be here today with all of you. And as I was listening, I did not know I was going to speak, but as I was listening to Reverend Massey and Ms. Thomas and how they described Martin Luther King, it brought to me the qualities that we had in our state representative, Q. Williams, who you know tragically passed. He had the gift of bringing people together. We all thought we were very special to him, and we were, but he just had that, the same as Martin Luther King, of bringing people together for equity and justice in the Capitol, and he will be missed. But what it brings is what he left in each and every person that knew him is incredible, and that stays with us in our hearts. And if I could have just a moment of silence for him, it would be appreciated. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much for sharing. So just to share a little bit with you about our theme today, before we start with our youth speakers, we were thinking about what is it that we could have as a theme for this year. And something just kept coming to us as it relates to our young people. Because as we get a little bit older, we have to start making sure that next generation is prepared to do it. Right? So we wanted to have some focus on our young people. And so this year's theme is it's really to honor them. And the theme is why they matter. The power of youth and young adults in the fight for civil rights and social justice. So what we have today is we have some of our middle school students, but we also have a couple of college students that want to speak to you. But before they come, I just want to ask if you can kind of think of yourself as a young person, a teenager, or a young adult during your time period, or even now, and think about Dr. King, Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Think about Representative John Lewis. Think about what they went through during their time and the conviction and the passion that they had at such a young age. So we think about them, but we don't necessarily think about how they got their start and when they started. And so when you think about both of those individuals, Dr. King, as we know, he spent some time here in Connecticut, and he started college at the age of 15, so he was young. And when he came here for the summers, he was a teenager, right, to work with tobacco. But I really think that started some sparks for him. It continued with the sparks for him in terms of looking at the inequities that he had already experienced, knowing that as a 6-year-old, he experienced racism. Coming here after being in the South and experiencing segregation and racism. He comes here as a young teen and experiences something totally different. And then has to go back to that same way of life. Not just going back to that same way of life, but doing something about it, taking action, and becoming the man that he became. And so if you think about that age and that those types of passions became action, we're not too young to start thinking about what our young people can do to change this world. And so we want to make sure that we're keeping an eye on what they're learning, how they're growing, and being able to have a voice as it relates to civil rights and social justice. And we think about John Lewis, his passion at such a young age. He was still just a young adult, organizing SNCC and being part of Selma marches. And those are things that both went about and seemingly without any hesitation. But we want to make sure that we remember both men as men, but also remember that they were youth and young adults when they got started on their journeys. So today we have with us four youth speakers, and they're going to be giving their reflections on Dr. King and civil rights and social justice, however they felt they wanted to have their voice heard today. So I'm going to just introduce all of them, and what I'm going to do is start with Ava. And Ava Smith. She is in 7th grade. And Ava is a 095 junior warrior cheerleader. She manages the drill team at the Sage Park Middle School. She's an amazing big sister. She has a 5-month-old baby sister. And she's a twin. Yes. Her favorite things to do is to hang out with her friends and spend time with her great-grandmother, who is a retired teacher from Windsor. And if I can, certainly, I commend you, Ava, for that, because some of us who may not have our grands or great-grands, we would wish we had them so that we can have time to spend with them. So that's wonderful that you're doing that. So I commend you for that. Ava.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ava Smith. I am a 7th grader who attends Sage Park Middle School here in Windsor, Connecticut. I want to briefly discuss the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was born on January 15, 1929. At the age of 25, Dr. King became a pastor of a church in Montgomery, Alabama. Dr. King dedicated his life to a nonviolent struggle for the civil rights movement. He played a major role in ending segregation of the African Americans in the United States by leading a nonviolent campaign for the racial justice during the civil rights movement. His fight to achieve equal rights from Black Americans earned him the Nobel Peace Prize in 1964. There are a few things that we as people can do to keep his legacy alive. 1 is lead by example, 2 is to advocate for voting rights, and 3, most important of all, is to have faith and always to dream.
Thank you so much, Ava. We definitely have to encourage our young people, right? Did an excellent job. We now have 3 other students from the Sage Park Middle School who are going to be coming to speak with you. I'm going to introduce all 3 at one time, and then they're going to come up. They have a certain order that they want to come up. So, and so I want to first also recognize all of the parents that are here with our young adult and youth speakers. And if you could please stand, because we wouldn't be here with them right now if you did not allow for them to do this. So we thank you for encouraging them. We also had a Sage Park Middle School teacher, Miss Millen. Where is she? There she is, then. Yes. We're saying thank you to you as well, because we know that you were working with the students and helping them to prepare their speeches, and so we appreciate you volunteering your time to do so. Thank you. So we have with us Jaden Morrison, and you all can go through everything, and then you guys can come up. Jaden is 7 years old. In 7th grade. See, they have a voice, you can tell, right? They straightened me out just now. 7th grade, yes. Some things about Jaden. He is a very active young man, I will tell you that. He actually is someone who is part of a robotics team at his school. He's also on the news team and reading news every morning at his school. He also is a co-author of 2 books with his mom. One is called My Body Belongs to Me, and the other is Children Have Rights Too. He also travels back to Jamaica with his mom in the summers, and he does work there too. He works with children who were abused from age 10 to 16, and he had an idea to start a lemonade stand to raise money because the Princess Margaret Hospital there in St. Thomas, Jamaica, really had conditions that needed to be improved, and he wanted to make a difference with that. He and his brother also have a live show on Facebook. And yes, they read to children for children's books. And they read children's books that are before bedtime reading. And then also in the month of February, they will be reading children's authors' books for the month of February that are from Black authors. So he's been a quite busy young man. And then we also have Madeline Hillman. Madeline's activities is that she is a member of the girls' soccer team at the middle school. She also has done leads in the Windsor community plays. And she's president of student council. She loves to read and sing. We should have had you start that song for us. And then we have Samantha McNeil. Samantha has been dancing for 8 years. She's in 7th grade, and she's been dancing for 8 years, lyrical and jazz. And she's going to be competitively dancing this year. And she's involved with ballet. She loves to read and draw. So with that, I am going to ask them to come and provide you with their voice.
Hello, I'm Jaden Atir Morrison, and today I'm here to talk to you about how youth can help make positive changes towards equality and social injustice. Dr. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. fought for equality and social justice for all humanity, and because of his courage, his life, and his legacy, I can stand here today and speak about how he inspired me as a young African American.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. According to online mswprograms.com, social injustice is when actions are taken that infringe upon a group's rights, marginalize their opportunities, or treat them unfairly. An example of social injustice is when people are treated unfairly, as in the case of children that are being abused and neglected and also mistreated. In 2017, I attended my first annual retreat for abused children, sponsored by my mother. The retreat caters to young girls of the ages of 16 and 10 who have been abused. It was there that I first realized that many young children are deprived of the opportunity of the freedom to enjoy their childhood. For many annual visits to these retreats, I realized that not only did the justice system fail these youths, but there also a lack of knowledge about their rights as children as it relates to their bodies. I thought about how I could help to bring awareness to all children by making them know that they have a rights too. In 2020, I co-authored a book called My Body Belongs to Me to help prevent child sexual abuse from happening and to uplift the spirits of young children being abused and to help them realize that they have a voice even when they're being rejected. Just like Dr. King Jr., I have a dream that one day all races will be educated with the knowledge that they have a voice and that they have the right to enjoy their childhood free from abuse.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Samantha McNeil, and I am here today to represent the voice of our future. Recently, I had the opportunity to speak to some of my peers and ask them why it was important for kids our age to have a voice, and they answered with the following. One student said, to speak up about how they feel about racism. Another student said, kids can say powerful things from experiences they've had. And my personal favorite, a close friend of mine said, kids are not dumb, they just lack context. If we don't listen to them, then they aren't a part of the community. Now, that little voice in your head might be saying, these kids are like 12, 13 years old. How is what they say important? But the thing is, what we do and say now can and will affect us in 10, 20, even 30 years from now. And like I said before, we are the voice of our future and the voice of our new generation. And quoting John F. Kennedy, the 35th President of the United States, if not us, who? If not now, when? Are you willing to be a part of that change? How do we, as young adults, incorporate the knowledge of the generations before us to make our community a better and stronger place for everybody? Thank you.
Hello, I'm Maddie Hellman. While having conversations about how we were going to start this speech, we all quickly realized that we all had similar ideas to why the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was important, and we wanted to tell you because they might be different than yours. We weren't all friends before we started this creative process, and I'd like to say that we might have, but I don't know for sure. Yet some adults still tell us we don't have a reason to think so strongly on these types of issues because we're just kids and we don't understand these topics. But we do. Kids can be smart, but they may not always show it. Sometimes you just have to encourage some people to come out of their shell. A person will never talk if they don't know they can. We are very lucky to go to a school, Sage Park Middle School, which is part of the Windsor City Schools, in a community where we have a voice. Sammy, Jaden, and I know this, but do other kids know it? We think that many kids at our school don't know it. And maybe they don't know that they can have an impact on our world's ever-changing issues today. That's why it's important for you to support us by telling us we have a voice and that we should advocate for change. Thank you.
Wow, I just have chills right now after listening to our children. Let's give them all a round of applause. Wow, did you notice the tag team thing they were doing over there? That's so wonderful to see, and you all did a fantastic job on this. And we want to encourage you to continue to learn and to grow and continue with, having your voice. Okay. Now we would like to have a solo from Minister Jennifer Bro from Archer Memorial A.M.E Zion Church. And I will alert you all, she has an angelic voice, so just enjoy.
Well, thank you, Pat, for that introduction. But it's very difficult for me, not going to lie, to follow up those amazing individuals who came up and spoke today. I'm inviting you also that even though it says solo, if you know the words, please sing along with me today.
angelic, right? Thank you so much, Minister Jennifer. One of the other things that we thought about for this particular program was the relationship between Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and the late Congressman and Representative, U.S. Representative John Lewis. And so we thought it would be a wonderful thing for this year to give tribute, pay tribute to him. And again, it's been a while since we've been together. And so since the time that he has passed, we wanted to be able to honor him as well, because he was right in there with the fight, wasn't he? All the way through to his passing. And so we hope that this tribute will be something that you will embrace and enjoy, and think about Dr. King, think about John Lewis, think about them together, and think about what they both stood for together. We first have with us Samantha Curtis. We have at Central Connecticut State University, there is a John Lewis Institute that was formed more recently for social justice. And I believe we're in our second, they're in the second hour, and I'm sorry because I work at Central, so that's kind of getting in there. But I believe we're in the second cohort. And I'm not sure, Samantha, if you're in the second or first? Second cohort, okay. And so what we have is students who are getting involved and taking action as it relates to this cause. And I just want to share with you what the CCSU Institute mission is, and then you can have a sense of what it is that these students are being involved in. The Institute for Social Justice seeks to empower a new generation of leaders to follow his call to build a better and more just world, one that is marked by hope and focused on liberation. In doing so, the Institute hopes to find hope and strength in these efforts, and to also allow for students to have a voice in order to move us toward justice and to live a life of service. The collective work is designed to create intellectual and civic spaces to allow for a deeper understanding of the roots of injustice, while also fostering and nurturing the efforts to eliminate the fact that there is the social justice and injustice. The Institute looks to follow the mandates of Representative Lewis and observations of the challenges that ordinary people, his quote of ordinary people with extraordinary vision, can redeem the soul of America. A little bit about Samantha as she comes. She is a senior at Central Connecticut State University, and she's working toward her bachelor's degree in business management with a focus on entrepreneurship. After graduation, she desires to open her own business, invest in real estate, and potentially further her education. So with that, I welcome you to come and share with us your voice.
I am so nervous. Okay. So back when I was younger, I used to volunteer for a week every summer with an organization called Group Work Camp. Thousands of volunteers across the United States would go to low-income communities and fix people's homes. One of those years, when I was 15, we went to Trenton, New Jersey. I was working on the neighborhood grandma's home with my group, and during the break, I would play various sports with the neighborhood kids. There were these two little boys in particular that changed my world forever. One was 5 and one was 6, much like my little 5-year-old in the front over here. One day I asked them what they wanted to be when they got older. One looked at me and said he wanted to be better than Tom Brady in the NFL. The other chimed in saying he was going to be the next Michael Jordan, only 4 times better than him and LeBron James combined. The thing is it was really possible. The football star could easily throw a football at least 50 yards contested, and the ball would land in his friend's hand every time. The other could easily drive to the basket while being guarded by somebody twice his height and 3 times his weight. But as they told me about these amazing and completely reachable goals they had, the 6-year-old looked at me and said, and I quote, "At the end of the day, that probably won't happen." And I asked why, thinking it was self-doubt, game planning how I was gonna, motivate him and make him realize like it's really possible. But instead, his heartbreaking, life-changing response was that he'd do whatever it takes to make sure his grandma and family are okay, even if that means he'll turn to the streets to make money. When I brought up the trouble he could get in, his response was that his 16-year-old brother was in jail, so he'd be fine. And the 5-year-old nodded in agreement. The idea that this 6 and 5-year-old already knew that the world had failed them changed my entire outlook on life. Granted, I never understood how we were living in the 2010s and still dealing with racism, inequality, sexism, homophobia, and everything else cold in this world, decades after civil rights icons like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Rosa Parks, and John Lewis, as well as so many others, fought so hard for rights. So that day I decided my path would take a drastic turn. I decided it was my calling to use my voice as a means to change the world, fighting against inequality and wiping it out to the best of my ability. My original plan was to become a high school English teacher and specifically work in low-income communities. I thought if I could get into the systemically racist public education system in predominantly non-white communities, I could not only teach students about real-life things I wish I knew when I was graduating, but the truth in a lot of the covered-up situations going on both past and present. Furthermore, I wanted to help pave the path for them to use their voices to stand up for what they believed in and do everything possible for them and their families, very similar to John Lewis and his path of motivating students to do the same. However, between the education policies, not having enough time in the day for everything I imagine, and my duties as a teacher, I felt I'd be able to do more and make bigger impacts on the cause with my current major. I've been game planning and have begun putting in the works to open a nonprofit that provides private school resources to low-income communities. That way the whole community can get involved in the kids, I can reach more age groups, and have the time to ensure that no child would ever feel how that 5 and 6-year-old felt that day. I truly believe that John Lewis, as well as the other civil rights icons, began the path of equality by following their life purposes. And it is on you, my peer scholars, and I to continue it by educating, motivating, and helping in any way we possibly can by having our voices heard. We can and will continue to fight for equality for all people.
Samantha, that was beautiful. And I know you were a little nervous, but I think all of us have really received what you said with open arms, and we're very proud of you. And your little man right next to you is just adorable. He's like, who, me? Our second John Lewis Scholar, she is not with us in person. However, she is going to be with us virtually through a recording. So as I get that ready, I'm going to just ask if, Janet, you might help me with the lights over here while I do her intro. Thank you. Denisha Noble, she is a junior at Central Connecticut State University, majoring in cybersecurity. In addition to the John Lewis Institute, She is involved with the African Student Organization as a public relations officer. She's involved with the Women's Involved Now Club. She's also a Traveler's Edge Scholar, an orientation leader, and a grassroots, she's involved in the Grassroots Law Project. She is looking to work after she's going into the workforce, after she graduates, and she's also considering the possibilities of law school or obtaining her master's degree. So I give to you the second John Lewis Institute Scholar from Central Connecticut State University, Denisha Noble.
Denise Noble. I'm a part of the first cohort of the John Lewis Institute for Scholars at Central Connecticut State University, and I just wanted to talk about how John Lewis just made an impact on me, and I thank you all for having me speak on it today. The biggest highlight for me for John Lewis was the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, how John Lewis kind of organized that and became the chairman of that and helped organize protests on and off campus. It just really showed like what you can do at school, and not a lot of people like show that. Like when you really think about like forming a club at school, you think of, oh, like I'm formed like a streaming club, like Netflix club, but like this was a club that impacted everybody, and through education, not through education, but it impacted everybody because just like you're taking the next step and you're building society without even earning your degree. And I feel like that is crazy. And for him to do that at my age, and I didn't do half the things he did, I just feel like I'm way behind and I just need to step up. His impact on me was kind of crazy, especially through this institute. But I definitely said through Gen Z, he made us into these activists that we are today. I feel like he was the sweet middle between Malcolm X and Martin Luther King, and that helped shape our Gen Z. And through everything, through the Black Lives Matter movement, it just showed how much of an impact he made, because when he spoke at colleges, universities, and he just really showed us to lead your way. You are making your path, and you need to be vocal and speak up on your rights. His work inspired me to give that to the youth. I've said that if cybersecurity does not work out for me, I want to be a history teacher because I love history and I love working with the younger minds. It's just, their minds are so captivating, and they have so many imaginative ways of how to fix things. And we all just love working with younger kids. Through the Young Women's Leadership Corps that I used to be a part of, we used to read to Burns Latino elementary school. I used to read to these cute little kindergartners, and it's just like their mind from just reading a book, it's just so captivating and it's so beautiful that it just shows that our next generation is in good hands if we help them know it. And a lot of people say, oh, younger kids must be seen and not heard. They need to be heard, because just like that's what pulls our society down, because we think the older you are, the wiser you are, and that may be the truth, but also young people are very wise and they don't know it. If you just take that thought and cultivate it, that can help change society too. And with that, to be chosen as a John Lewis Institute scholar was pretty shocking for me, because in my cohort, I'm the only STEM major, and it just showed that you don't have to fit in a specific category to be a part of something great. You don't have to. All stars shine, and it makes one big glowing light, and everybody can make a change. And that's why I'm so glad to be a part of the John Lewis Institute, because I was so sad that I had to forego my political science minor just because it would lighten my course load. But to be a part of this, it's just amazing. I'm actually putting my love to of social justice to use. And yeah, thank you.
So again, we thank our Central Connecticut State University John Lewis Institute scholars for sharing with us today. And we hope that you enjoyed their presentations. So, on that plate, how you have the meat and the potatoes and the veggies and everything, right? So we've had the potatoes, we've had the veggies, and now we're getting ready for the meat, right? And then here to introduce our keynote speaker is Isaac McCormick. He is just this amazing young man. Again, we talk about our youth and young adults. He's a young adult within our community, and he's very active. He does a lot of volunteer work, just a very gentle spirit, and he really is someone that has been always available and willing to help us in any way that he could. So I thank him so much, and I ask him to come on up and to introduce our keynote speaker, Mr. Leonard Lockhart, Vice President of the Windsor Board of Ed.
Good evening, everyone. How you doing? It's been a great service so far. Round of applause for everyone that came before. Before I begin introducing the speaker, I would like to get another round of applause just for the engagement for everybody in this room. It's a special day, it's Martin Luther King Day, and this is a powerful moment having all these different colors and creeds in this room. So I think it's important for everyone to round of applause and look around and greet your neighbors. Mr. Leonard O. Lockhart is a native of Hartford, Connecticut, and a product of the Hartford public school system. After graduating from Weaver High School, he attended the University of Hartford, where he graduated majoring in electrical engineering technology and currently works for Johnson Controls as a district manager for over 26 years of service. He believes that his humble beginnings shaped his work ethic and passion for serving others, and gives back tirelessly to the town of Windsor and his fraternity through service. For over 10 years, he has serviced on the Windsor Board of Education, currently as Vice President with previous service as President, Finance Chair, and Long Range Planning Chair. Mr. Lockhart has served on the Windsor Volunteer Fire Department for over 16 years and volunteered for 9 terms as PTA president and 1 term as the treasurer at the Montessori Magnet School in Hartford, Connecticut. He currently serves on the Connecticut Democratic State Central Committee representing the 2nd Senatorial District. He also serves on the Connecticut Association of Board of Education, CABE, Board of Directors as first Vice President and Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Chair. Mr. Lockhart is very concerned about the education environment on the state and national levels. He's a strong advocate of philosophy that it takes a village to educate every child with no prejudice. He fights to invest in universal pre-K technology, a focus on civil engagement, STEM, and providing more support in math, literacy, and science. He has demonstrated effective leadership and results through civil collaboration and constant professional development. He's a past Eastern Regional Director and Platinum Life member of the Distinguished Service Chapter of Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity. With service on the local, state, regional, and national levels. Leonard loves the community for his diversity, willingness to debate the issues and fight for high quality of life. You can't serve the people if you don't love the people. You can't serve the people if you don't love the people. And that's where Leonard resides in Windsor, Connecticut with his wife, Renee Lewis Lockhart, and their family. They have 4 children, Leonard Jr., Xaria, I'm sorry, brother, I'm sorry. Xaria, Xavier, and Bria, and 1 recently born granddaughter, Maya. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mr. Leonard O. Lockhart.
Thank you, young man. Thank you so much. The O is my daddy's name, Otis. I'm a country boy trapped in the city man's body. I want to thank everyone within the sound of my voice. When I was invited to this, the inviter did not know that myself and John Lewis are fraternity brothers. And I have shaped a lot of my politics, small p and capital P, through John Lewis as well as Elijah McCummins, who's also a member of my fraternity, both deceased. So in order to be raised up to do this type of work, you got to have those that are before you that can train you up, because it's very difficult to get to the table. What do you mean by that? There's a table, and at this table, there's information, there's food, there's influence, there's authority, there's finances, and you're either at the table eating or you are on the menu. So for a lot of us, because I'm a volunteer firefighter and I am trained to hear the faintest voice, just like all the emergency services in here, you are trained and we are raised to hear and serve the faintest voice, not the loudest voice, but make sure that you are in tune to the faintest voice. How dare I be hypocritical knowing that there's been times I've always been on the menu. I've always been told you'll never make it. I've always been told you'll be dead by the time you're 21. And this is by people that were put in places and authority to serve and to educate me. I don't look like what I've been through. Neither do you. I'm proudly 53 years old, and there's a lot of people wish that I was dead today. And they've told me that to my face as a little boy to now. But here I am. I know who I am. I know what I am. And sadly in 2023, the world continues to tell me who I am through policy, through actions, through inactions, and the way that I'm treated. I'm treated with great respect here in the town of Windsor, but when I leave Windsor, I'm nothing but an African-American male. And you have no idea of who's waiting for me at home. You don't know who I serve, who I risk my life for in the town of Windsor. All you see is an African-American male in 2023. But equally important, we have other races that are going through equal pressures and struggles that admittedly I don't know. I only know it from my perspective. I am born and raised in Hartford, Connecticut. Raised in Bellevue Square. Fought, bled, cried, fought some more, bled some more, just to move to Martin Street. And if you know Martin Street, I got scars on my face, back, legs. I've been fighting from the womb. So the person that you see standing before you has been through a lot. This is a man that was conceived to a 14-year-old boy and 14-year-old girl and given up for adoption at the moment of birth. I loved them. I thanked them. They gave me an opportunity. I was born 4 weeks early, 4 pounds, 9 ounces. So I've been fighting from conception. I'm here for a reason. But equally important, you are here for a reason. Because when we all die, God's not going to ask me, Mr. Sigmund, what did you do for my people? He's going to say, Leonard, you had the opportunity to do for my people. What did you do? So how dare I try to look down on others and their struggles when I've been struggling to get to this table. Now I'm going to get back to the table. There's the table of life. And you got people that's at the head of the table. They don't want to give up any resources. They don't want to give up any authority, any power. They don't want to give any of that up. But thankfully for where I've come from, yeah, I'm light-skinned. And I'm led to believe that some of my people was in the house. I'm speaking with bold audacity today. If you know who I am, I'm going to give it to you straight, no chaser. Somehow, some way, I had to learn how to read, had to learn how to write, had to learn how to conduct myself in certain forms. I can go to Hartford, I can flip a switch on. I'm back to my Hartford mentality, like my hands are ready to go. At 53 years old. I'm only going to talk about me. If you want to talk about me, I'll join you talking about me. I'm not going to talk about you. I'm going to talk about me. And there's some folks in here that knew me in my 20s. I was nothing nice. I was not for play-play. I'm not for play-play now. But I'm more refined, I'm more civil, I'm more collaborative. Because I know when my son was born, you couldn't tell me anything. Because of my experience, I was headstrong, I was willing to take on the world. But when my daughter was born, it clicked. She knows how to keep me on the leash. She knows how to let me off the leash. She knows how to summon me back to the leash. That's what daughters do for their daddies. So as I'm learning how to get to this table, I've been a little indignant from time to time. We had a takeover of the administrative building at the University of Hartford in my younger days. And we took over the building because there was a lot of things going on the campus that were just not right for students. And not just a student of color, but for women and for all type of different sets of people. So that's what began to shape what I wanted to do. So now I've learned how to get to the table at the University of Hartford. Man, I'm at the table, all this good food, and I'm a country boy. I like to eat country food. I like to eat some good food. But I'm experiencing food in the case of information, how to work through policy, how to work through Robert's Rules of Order, how to work through a structure to get what you need to get for those that you are serving. That took many decades. That took about a good 2 decades to refine that. Now you're at the table, now you want to be comfortable in making sure that those that shouldn't be on the menu are now taken off the menu. How dare I forget where I came from with the crabs in the barrel mentality and not reach back and bring people along with me? That's hypocritical. And it don't matter the color of my skin, it don't matter the color of your skin, it don't matter when you call 911, for example, I don't ask dispatch, hey, what is their nationality, what is their color? No. If you call me, I am coming because you are a child of God, and I'm willing to come and put my life on the line to make sure that you are no longer having a bad day. That is the type of audacity and energy that I bring when I sit behind a dais, when I go to DC, when I go to Hartford to advocate in certain things, especially in the area of education. Now you get to the table, now you're at the head of the table. So now it's no longer your job to consume everything. It's your job now to make everyone around you better. It's your job to make sure that policy, appropriation, implementation, and support are now being pushed forward. That's my role. But that was never taught to me growing up in Hartford. What was taught to me was how to survive in a very, very primal manner. And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed of our upbringing. I'm not. That's why I work so hard to provide for mine. If you are under my wing, under my protection, if I am providing, protecting, professing for you, if you are under my wing, you are good. I bring that same energy to the fire department. I bring that same energy to the Board of Education. Because my child, I love my child, but I love every single child equally, per my oath. My authority comes from the state constitution. I'm just elected by my town through our town charter. So I know exactly where my responsibility is. But there's a lot more issues rather than education when you're at the table. We know we have a lot of social issues going on. And during the civil rights movement, there was a lot of incidents that really shaped where we were in that time, I believe from 1942 to 1968. If I'm wrong, point the finger at me. I'm going off of memory. But you had Jim Crow laws. You had the Rosa Parks incident. You had the Fair Housing Act of 1968. You had the Little Rock Nine. I've met some of them in my life, so God be the glory. The Woolworth Lunch Counter incident. The Freedom Riders. The March on Washington. The Civil Rights Act of 1964. Bloody Sunday. And several civil rights leaders being assassinated. Let's talk about some of the Freedom Riders for a moment. John Lewis is someone was called the boy from Troy by Dr. King. He was summoned to Dr. King to participate as a youth. Remember, Martin Luther King himself is a young man. So in the back of your mind, remember what you were doing from the ages of 13 to 37, if you are over the age of 37. And if you are within that age group right now, I want you to start thinking now where your journey is going to take you. The boy from Troy had no money. He was summoned to a call. He was thrust into service, not just for African Americans, but for all. He made it very clear he wanted a world for everybody. He wanted to see a better country for everybody. It was just that the struggle of the African Americans over the past 400 some odd years was at the thrust of why a lot of this began. So the man didn't forget who he was, but he knew why he was there. And it wasn't for him. Again, you can't serve the people if you don't love the people. And I believe that Dr. King truly loved the people. No good deed goes unpunished, though. Just think about reflecting on your life over the past 30 days and think about the good deeds you've done for others in your life and how it went kind of punished in a way that probably made you feel a certain type of way, like, why am I doing this? What is my calling? Why? You know what? At times I find myself, questioning God myself. Because when I got this invitation, it seemed like all heck broke loose in my life. That was confirmation right there alone. God don't bother you when you are comfortable. Excuse me, the devil don't bother you. But when you about to turn your test into a testimony and your mess into a message, the devil don't want to hear that. I fall very short from perfection. I'm not perfect by a long shot. I confess that very daily, but I'm blessed and highly favored in my spirit. And no one can take that from me. I'm here to encourage you, let you know, don't let no one. I profess to my granddaughter daily, Maya Leigh Lockhart, you are destined for greatness. Don't let no man, woman, or child tell you what you can or cannot do. If you have it upon your heart and it's deemed and acceptable in the sight of the Lord, it shall be done. You will be doing great things that I can never dream or imagine. That is my why. That's why I'm here. As soon as I had them kids, my life was given away. As soon as I took oath to be a Board of Ed member, my life was given away. When I committed to being a volunteer fire department, now as a captain, I have dedicated to give my life away. I openly admit that when I go to an alarm, that alarm could be my last alarm. My family accepts that. I accept it. It's because I love the people. Martin Luther King loved the people. And if there's any woman or child that can say differently, I would love to hear your story. Because at the end of the day, we all do fall short. He said back in 1959, make a career of humanity. Commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a better person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world to live in. So we all have a dash. My dash begins with April 24th, 1969, 8:23 p.m. I'm in the middle of my dash. I don't know when my end is going to be. But I'm thankful to the Lord that He gives me an opportunity every day, one more day, to make it right. Because nothing is promised to you. Nothing is promised to any of us. And we know we have people here in our town that are going through it. I don't care if you live Bloomfield Avenue North or you live in we all work hard for our houses. We work hard because we all want the best for our children. We are trying to honor those that were slaves, that were beaten, that were lynched, even to this day utterly just disrespected just for the color of their skin. I want to be very clear. This is not anything against any other race or culture. I'm just speaking from my perspective because I know all cultures have bound together to help the African American cause. I want to make sure you understand that very, very clear. But at the same time, we have systems and structures in place that are working quite the way they were intended to work. So no matter how hard you work, there's always going to be something hindering you. No matter what you're trying to do in life. It could be on your job, it could be in your house, it could be anywhere. There's always something that's nipping at your heels. Faint not when doing good work. Because at the end of the day, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. We got people in here that serve in numerous capacities, doing great things, but I know each and every one of you are going through something. You ain't got to say it. It's a rhetorical statement. We all go through things. And if you're not, you know what? Praise the Lord. Because if you're not going through something, something's coming. I promise you. Something's coming. What do we have going on in our country right now that's nipping at our heels? What about the income gap? Especially between men and women. In 2023, we still have income gaps in certain sectors. Criminal justice. Some people suggest that we still have that going on. LGBTQ+. Women reproductive rights. Think about this for a moment. Every single one of us, some lovely queen birthed one of us. So how dare we have the audacity to discuss reproductive rights of a woman and her doctor? That's not my place as a man. I don't think that's the place of the government. I stand on bold audacity. I could be alone at this point, but you know what? I stand on it. Yes. There will be no one telling my daughters, my granddaughters, or future generations how they're going to manage their body. I profess that. I'm not going to have the audacity to profess that on you because you may not agree with me. But I'm just letting you know on 10 toes down where I am. Healthcare, gun violence, racial injustice, immigration, voting rights or lack of, public education, climate change, sadly, veteran affairs, sadly, hunger and food insecurity, homelessness, and gender inequality in the richest nation of the world. We have veterans that go and serve for us, give they all, and come home, and we don't take care of them. That is not the vision of Dr. King. We may have the mightiest military on the planet, but the way, and I got veterans that are personal family members of mine, and I've seen them pass, and it's not good. It's not good. I can only speak for me. But what would Dr. King say right now, if he was alive right now? More importantly, what would your great-grandparents say right now if they could be alive at this moment in time based off of what they went through to get us to this point? What would they say? I'm only speaking from a 50-year perspective. I can remember as far back as 5 years old. The race riots had just been going on down there in the city of Hartford. A lot of that stuff down on Windsor Street got tore up. A lot of people moved out of Bellevue Square. A lot of individuals came in. The housing project started deteriorating. I lived in a time where people would walk right up to me and call me anything but the child of God. N-word, anything. It was just that bold, that brash back then. So please understand from my perspective. I wish not to offend no one. I am hardened. Not much shaped me. I am hardened based off my experience and the way I've been treated with a lack of respect in my day. But in my older years, things have been a little better. I love the town of Windsor. You know why? Because our politics are local. Politics are all local. We really can't control what goes on in Hartford. We definitely can't control what goes on in D.C. But what we can control here is what's local. And I believe we have a great town council. I believe we have a great Board of Education. I believe we have a great town manager. I believe we have a great superintendent because we are not afraid to debate at times in a heated manner, but for the most part, we are civil and collaborative. Mr. Panels, you are one of my favorite board members. I enjoy debating with you because you make sure that I'm not comfortable. Because when you're comfortable, that's when you get complacent. So I don't mind a good debate. Anybody that knows me, I'm stubborn, I'm hard-headed, I'm principled, and I'm 10 toes down unless shown differently. I'm sorry, I am who I am. But more importantly, just think about yourself. How are you in those situations? And what can you do to be a little bit better? I can only talk about me, because when I point the finger at you, that thumb pointing back at me. So how dare I talk about you and not talk about me? I'm just one little city boy with some country tendencies. These young kids spoke very well about their vision and where they want to go. Everyone has a voice. That's how a lot of the civil rights stuff took place back in the day. A lot of the children, a lot of the youth. When I say youth, I'll say from teenage to 30 years old. Remember, Dr. King was not even 40 years old before he died. So he got a lot done in his time. So never think you are too old to accomplish a task. If you feel that there's something you would like to address, stand up and address it. Especially in this day and age, social media, there's a lot more activism going on today than ever before. There's a lot of, once heard a good wise man say from the pulpit, there's negative pride and there's positive pride. So I'm going to use pride as an acronym because social media is exhibiting both of them, negative and positive. That negative pride is, please recognize I deserve exaltation. That's that negative pride. There's a lot of that going on. Who is that helping? All it's doing is feeding the stereotypes. Say amen or say ouch, either way. But that positive pride, personal responsibility and daily excellence. We need to see more of that. If we had more of that in social media, we might go a little bit further than what we are right now. Sadly, we look at the negative more than the positive. If you look at the news, you see more negative than positive. If you look at the narrative that is spun by, I don't care if you're liberal, conservative, the political system is feeding narratives, whether you're liberal or conservative, to meet their agenda. I openly admit that. I am a liberal Democrat. At times I'm fiscally conservative. I don't mind spending money to invest in good quality from it, but I'm not to waste. So understand who you're talking to here. At the end of the day, we need to do better. Let's stop relying on media. We got to rely on each other. It starts in the home. I'm not going to legislate no one's home. I'm not going to legislate anyone's values. But what I will ask is that when we come together as a collective group, we have to be civil and we have to be collaborative. I don't care if you like me. That bothers me at all. I've been unliked my entire life. So I'm very comfortable in that realm. But what I do have a responsibility to is to respect you and to make sure that when you're disrespectful to me, I'm going to command my respect. And I'm sure all of your parents taught you the same thing in one way or another. So that's not a race issue. That's just a human, mankind issue. The children of the world are watching us. They're watching us. And you know, my kids, they watch me. I believe they may have some of my bad tendencies. I have bad tendencies. I do. I'm human. I'm not perfect. But them kids know, they call me, I'm coming. Anybody that messes with them know, I'm coming. And I'm sure you feel that way about your child, your child, your child. I'm only saying what you're probably afraid to say in public. Dr. King wanted the best for all of us. He wanted all of us to come together and make sure we take care of everybody. It doesn't matter if you're race, color, creed. He wanted everyone to succeed. He wanted everyone to be fed. He wanted everyone to have housing. He wanted everyone to have fair education. In Windsor, we're off to a good start with that. I believe we're head and shoulders. Do we have issues like every other town? We absolutely do. We have our politics, and that's a good thing. It's good to debate instead of rubber stamping. That's a good thing. And I say that to the Board of Ed all the time when we debate behind the scenes. At the end of the day, Windsor, keep doing what you're doing, because for me, Windsor was the American dream. I grew up in Bellevue Square, the concrete jungle. And my Aunt Gloria used to live over here on the corner on Green Manor. And my father used to bring us over to that little one-level split house. And from my perspective, where I came from, that was the world. I can only speak for me. I always wanted to go to my Uncle Shocky's house. And him and my Aunt Gloria were together. I always wanted to go to that house because I felt safe. I didn't have to watch my back. I knew I wasn't going to get no fist fight. I didn't have to worry about walking to the store, walking back without getting jumped. I had no brothers until later in life. So it was me against a lot of big families in Bellevue Square. And let me tell you, if you was an easy victim, you was going to be a victim every day. Sadly, we have that today in all of our communities. It might be a different environment, but we have people today sometimes feeling like they're struggling to get from point A to point B for whatever reason. But Windsor is the American dream, at least for the Lockhart household. More importantly, this country, I believe in what she was created for. She's a melting pot of different cultures from around the world. Everyone comes here seeking a better life. When you have people pushing off on a raft 50 deep with all that is going on in America to come here, we are a blessed and highly favored nation in that regard. But yet still we get in our own way with our mentality, our prejudices, everything in between. Those of you that are serving, whether it's in the legislature, whether it's emergency services, whether it's a volunteer group, I just want to say thank you. Because, it's hard to find volunteers in this day and age, especially with the economic pressures that are upon everybody. Everybody is struggling. If you know someone that's struggling, just reach out to them. If you know someone that's hungry, reach out to them. Because I promise you, per my faith, I am of the strong belief that the Lord gives me what I need to help others. And if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I need to be held accountable for that. So I just want you to take a moment and just reflect on your dash. Where are you in that dash? And what can you do to help others? That's something that I believe almost every religion practices, is you taking care of your fellow man and person. I just want to thank you for this opportunity. You had no idea with Brother Lewis. Well, I call him Brother Lewis. We both are members of the Distinguished Service Chapter within my fraternity, and there's only 200 of us within our over 100-year history inducted into that chapter. And to be able to, in that chapter with him, it's humbling. Had his picture up here with me the whole time. I'm used to speaking to my fellow fratters in the room, because testify, when you go to a conclave and you're arguing with 2,000 to 3,000 men on one topic, it can be very difficult. But this was more intimate. It's more difficult to speak to yours at home because they know you. But at the same time, you've embraced me. You may not agree with everything I've said from dances and stuff, and that's okay. That is okay. Just understand that I am here 10 toes down to serve you. You know why? Because I have agape love for you, and if you don't love the people, you can't serve the people. Thank you very much.
That's what you call a spirit of conviction right there. Thank you so very much. So we all need to make sure that we're checking our dashes, right? We need to check that dash. And yes, where are we in that dash, and what are we willing to do to help others? Thank you so very much. Very powerful. Okay, so we are winding down. Let's see. We are ready for remarks. Is Reverend Moe here? Right here. Oh, I can't see. Okay, great. In the absence of our pastor, Reverend William Campbell, and our First Lady, Reverend Frances Campbell, Reverend Monique Sanders is going to come and to provide remarks on behalf of them, and then we'll continue with other remarks.
Good evening. This is a very different place for me to be in, to be before my Windsor community as Reverend Moe. It feels very different. Well, Reverend Monique, that's not me. Y'all know me better than Reverend Moe. But I want to say that on behalf of my pastor, my First Lady, I bring you greetings from Archer Memorial A.M.E. Zion Church. And I just want to say that we've been doing this community event here in Windsor since, oh Lord, I was a child. And I'm not that old, I'm only 47. However, I was young then. And for us to still be able to do this, for this community to still be able to get together, despite the things that everybody else is doing, we still know what love looks like here in Windsor. And I think that is important. I want to say to the young people who spoke as an educator, ooh, you want to come talk to my 6th graders? I need you to just show up tomorrow. As an educator, it is a breath of fresh air to hear young people speak with such eloquence, to hear them speak with such passion, to know who they are, whose they are and to stand on that. And so that was beautiful to hear. To those from the JLI, it was pleasant to hear you speak as well. Young lady, the nonprofit that you want to start, listen, if you need a grant writer, let's talk. I think that it is something when you are able to turn your hopes and dreams into a vision that you can actually touch. So that is special that you're able to do that. And then, of course, to Mr. Lockhart, it is wonderful to hear you speak. I love that you said you was 10 toes down. That's real. That's real. I love that. I love that. Sometimes people become very eloquent, right? They become very erudite. But the fact that you can speak truthfully from your heart to the people that you serve, there's nothing better than that. And so I say thank you. And to this fine committee, Pat Gardner, and all those on the committee, having served on this committee at one time, I do know that it is an awful lot of work. And so I say thank you for yet again coming to the people here in Windsor and doing such a wonderful job reminding this community that we are one Windsor and reminding us what love stands for. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Mo. To continue with some remarks before we have a closing video, Jane Gardner, who is on the committee, is going to come. She's going to come with some presentations.
Hello, everyone. I was really trying to get out of this. Because I don't like really getting up in front of people, but I thank you all for coming. It was a beautiful afternoon. But we do want to recognize the folks who took their time to participate in our program. It wouldn't be as beautiful without you all participating. So first I wanted to thank Mr. Isaac McCormick for his wonderful introduction of our keynote speaker. And for outstanding presentations at the 2023 MLK Day celebration, I'm going to call the young folks up. Samantha Curtis. Madeline Hellman. And we have another Samantha McNeil. And Jaden Morrison. And Ava Smith. Our last presentation is going to be to our speaker, Mr. Leonard Lockhart. It's with gratitude from the Arch Memorial A.M.E. Zion Church MLK Day Celebration Committee, 2023 keynote speaker, Leonard Lockhart, Why They Matter, the Power of Youth and Young Adults in the Fight for Civil Rights and Social Justice.
I also would like to thank the MLK committee. It's something that we started a little later than we normally do this year, but we pulled it together and we had some beautiful speakers. These young people, and like Mr. Lockhart had talked about, is we have to know that they are destined to do something great. They are destined to do something great, and we will need to continue to encourage them. So, thank you. Oh, sorry. We also would like to thank again all of our dignitaries and town officials, but we would be remiss if we didn't thank each and every one of you for coming out one more time. So we want to give you all a round of applause. There are also many people behind the scenes that were helping us within the town. So Frank, I know he comes every year and helps us with our tech problems beforehand. So I really want him to know how much we really appreciate him, and Gary Dogowitz and Anita Drewbury. These are all people behind the scenes helping to make sure that and all the media that helps us with getting the word out. It's important that we let them know we do appreciate them as well. Win TV, the Windsor Chamber of Commerce, the Windsor Journal, all of those who have continually been supporting this event. We also want to thank our current and JI who are here today to help us to commemorate, and we also have a volunteer here from ATV. Thank you very much. Well, that ends our program. We hope you enjoyed your day. Please help yourself to some refreshments next door. And until next year.